Alright people, look where we are. That's right. We are currently riding along the Charles River here at nighttime. We are here on the Charles River Cruise. This is going to be a little bitty ride along the Charles River Cruise, and hopefully this video will be turning out to be an okay night video. We are currently looking at the Hyatt Regency Hotel here. You can see, once the camera focuses here, you can see the Hyatt Regency with the pink stripes at night. And hopefully the camera will do very, very well with the steady shot, and hopefully the focus will go very, very well once we're doing this video here at nighttime, because I know it's kind of hard to see with all the blur in the background, but hopefully everything will be okay, folks. Once we get a focus here, you can see downtown Boston in the distance. And if you look up ahead to your distance here, you can see the Mass Avenue Bridge right there. Focus camera. There we go, you can see. Alright, we're going to go ahead and stop the camera.
And so for many years, this benefactor who caused MIT to be built was only called Mr. Smith.
You can see over here,
all the parties are now
MIT.
dead.
That's Kendall
So
MIT.
now the truth can be told. Mr. Smith, well, some of you guys look like you're old enough like me to remember when there was actually film and cameras. And Mr. Smith was George Eastman, the CEO of Eastman Kodak, which is a good example of why it's important to give to charity, because you never know when your whole life's work might be wiped out by technology. Kodak is not important anymore, but MIT still is. Now, as we're approaching this Mass Ave Bridge right here in the MIT campus, all the students there are constantly trying to get it renamed the MIT Bridge instead of the Harvard Bridge, but every petition they do seems to fail. And one of the MIT students who led one of the petitions after it failed said, you know what, I'm at peace with it. I don't mind that they call this the Harvard Bridge. You want to know why? Because it's really shaky and MIT men walk over it all day long. Now, one thing which I like to tell people about the Harvard Bridge here, or the Mass Ave Bridge, is the story of a fellow whose name was Oliver Smoot. And Oliver Smoot was a member of a Greek fraternity here at MIT, and he was a little on the short side. Not excessively short, about 5'7". He was the shortest person that they'd ever let in the fraternity.
All right, here we go.
They
Underneath
said, you know
the
what we're
Mass
going to do?
Avenue Harvard
If you want to join this
Bridge.
fraternity, we're going to have you lay down over and over again on the Mass Ave Bridge and measure how many smoots it takes to get across the bridge. For the record, 364 smoots. One less than a year's worth of smoots. That's how I like to say it. 364 smoots. Okay? And in fact, the fraternity repaints them all the time. And there's a marker in the middle that says halfway to hell, which is pretty interesting. But I want to tell you a different story right now. At the other end of the bridge on the Boston side, there's a plaque there that says that this is where Harry Houdini did one of his famous escapes. Now, Harry Houdini was very famous for picking his way out of handcuffs and manacles and also escaping from straitjackets. But the problem with an act like that is you've seen it once, you've seen it a million times. So when he comes around again the next year, he's got to do something new and dramatic. And the new and dramatic thing that he did was he had himself wrapped in a straitjacket and put in manacles and had him thrown off of that bridge right there. And he was a huge star, so there were tens of thousands of people lining the bridge on both sides of the river when he did this. And he was thrown off that bridge and he stayed underwater for 40 seconds. Now, 40 seconds doesn't sound like a long time until you start to count it out. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi. I'm not going to go all the way to 40. You guys get the point. And by the time they got to 30 seconds, a lot of the people who were on the bridge were screaming and saying, we've got to find someone to rescue Harry Houdini. And at that moment, of course, Harry Houdini popped out of the water, holding the straitjacket in one hand and the manacles in the other, and he said, I was free after 15 seconds. I was just trying to increase the drama. All right? He made it look easy. A lot of them have talked about having a
You
strange
can see more on
sensation.
this side right here,
They
of
seem to
downtown
sort of
Boston.
lose the ability to control
And the
their
next
legs.
bridge we're going to be going
Their legs get
underneath
really
is the
sluggish
Longfellow
as they're
Bridge.
jogging across the bridge. And there was one woman who told a story about how she was jogging across the bridge very early morning with a big bank of fog here on the river, and she didn't seem to know what was happening to her. Her legs stopped moving, she stopped running, and suddenly she was over by the railing, and suddenly her legs were over the railing, and before she knew it, she was looking down, and the water was coming up to meet her, and she plunged into the icy cold water of the Charles River. And she went pretty far jump on that, more than it looks
Like I said,
when you
this
cruise
whole
underneath
history
it.
is
So
all
she went
about the
down deep
Charles
under the water,
River.
but she had a hard time coming back up. She was struggling to swim back up, and it felt like
This is
something was
absolutely the best
holding
time
her
to come
down
on this
there.
cruise.
She actually claimed later that she felt like there was a hand that was grasping at her ankle. So don't jog on that bridge in the morning. That's all I'm here to tell you about. And we're now rapidly cruising in the direction of the Longfellow Bridge. And so I want to tell you my story about Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Now, Henry Wadsworth Longfellow, one of the great poets of all time, and when he was about 30, his first wife died. And he was very, very sad about that, Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Very sad indeed. And he had a friend, a textile magnate, who lived on Beacon Hill. Married, and despite having been married once before, Penny really was the love of Longfellow's life.
See, red light
Mother
training
of his
is
children,
this.
very happy for a time, had quite a few children.
Those are red light
And they actually moved into the house in Cambridge, right near Harvard, that used to be George Washington's headquarters during the American Revolution. It's now called the Longfellow Washington House. You can visit it. And they're very happy there for a time. And this is after they'd spent time walking this bridge to meet each other during their engagement. Very special place for them, this bridge. But it all ended
All right,
in
we're now
tragedy
going
and
underneath
sadness
the Longfellow Bridge.
because
And as you
Fanny
can see,
was
the lights
actually,
are like a
I believe
blue
that she was
light at
cutting her
nighttime.
kids' hair and wanted to save some locks of their hair in an envelope
You can see
and
the
seal it with
lights
something
underneath the bridge
something
there.
believe was happening. We don't know
Yes,
for
I'm
sure.
trying to catch my
The
breath.
only thing we know for sure is that Fanny accidentally caught her dress on fire. So Longfellow was in his study in the Longfellow Washington House taking a nap on a cot when suddenly he heard the sounds of screaming. Before he could even get up from the cot, his wife Fanny burst into the room, completely engulfed in flames. Longfellow tackled her and tried to put out the flames with his own body, smother the flames. And it worked, but he was horribly burned as well, and both of them were completely unconscious. And by the time Longfellow woke up, Fanny was dead. And he was distraught. Now, he suffered horrible burns himself. If you see photographs of Longfellow later in life, he's always wearing this big Father Christmas beard, but it's not for fashion or for warmth. It's to cover up the horrible scarring on his face and neck and chest from when he tried to save his wife's life unsuccessfully. And when he finally woke up, he was so distraught, he was rocking back and forth catatonically, moaning over and over again, moaning her name.
All right, here
And
we
it took
go.
a friend of his
Underneath.
named Charles Sumner to shake him by the shoulders and say, you got to snap out of this. You got some young kids. You got to take care of them. They're going to get taken away from you if you don't get your act together.
See, look how
So
beautiful
finally
it
he
is.
did, but he never quite
Look
recovered
how
from
pretty
this.
it is
And he
underneath
wrote a
the
beautiful
bridge.
poem about it
Awesome.
2 decades later called Cross of Snow. And I'm going to attempt to read this poem to you from memory. It's a bit of a tightrope act for me, so I'm sorry if I get some of the words wrong, but here we go. It goes like this. Cross of Snow. In this long, sleepless watches of the night, a gentle face, the face of one long dead, looks at me from the wall, where round its head the night lamp casts a halo of pale light. Here,
So any
in this
enthusiasts here on
room, she
YouTube, what
died,
do you think about this little
and never
cruise?
a soul
Do you
more
like the
white through martyrdom
Charles River
of
cruise?
fire was
It's a
led to
wonderful,
repose.
wonderful time to
Nor
come out
can
here at
books be
nighttime
read, the
and
legend
enjoy a
of
wonderful,
life
nice,
more benedict.
nice day on the cruise, a
There is
nice night on the
mountain in the
cruise.
distant west that sun-defying in its deep ravines wears a cross of snow upon its side. Such is the cross I wear on my breast. Through all these changing scenes and seasons, these 18 years, changeless
All right,
since the day.
we're gonna swing the camera one more time.
And that is Cross of Snow by Henry
And we'll end the
Wadsworth
video.
Longfellow. The Longfellow Bridge right there is a place where they sometimes see the
That right
ghosts
there's the
of
Longfellow Bridge right
Longfellow
there.
and Fanny meeting
Sorry about
together
the
on bridge
focusing
almost
because the
at
camera's a
sunset.
little bit blurrier at
And the
nighttime.
sunlight kindles them again as though they're catching fire one more time.
Let's make the focus here.
Now we're rapidly approaching
There we go.
our berth in the
All
Charles
right.
River, but I think that I still need to tell you the final chapter of the story
One more look,
of
then
Dr.
we'll end the
John
video.
White Webster and George Parkman. Now you remember that when we left off with the janitor Ephraim
over there you can
Littlefield,
see
he'd
on the
just
head
broken a hole
Is
into
the
privy
Zakin Bridge
pit
right there.
and seen, what did he see inside that privy pit? He saw
All right.
a pair of hips and
I
a
hope you
leg.
guys enjoyed
And so he
today's
thinks, oh, this
wonderful
might be
night
the
video
vanished Dr. Parkman
along the
that I'm
Charles
seeing
River
there.
cruise.
And this time he calls the
Cruising
police, and
along
police do a
the
much
Charles
better
River
job
at night.
of searching the chemistry lab
Please make sure
than he
to
did.
like and
When they
subscribe
go
to
in,
my channel.
They go straight for the furnace.
And always
Remember
stay
how we
tuned for
heard
more
the sounds
updates.
of people, of
So
me,
for that
Dr.
being
John
said,
White Webster, walking
that
back
will
and
be it,
forth to the
folks.
furnace and opening the door. Remember a set of bridge
One
work.
more thing before
And
we
he
end the
made a fresh
video.
set of bridge work
This right
on the
here
road.
is the
He took that
Museum of
fresh bridge work,
Science.
took the blackened jaw, and it
You can
popped
see the
onto it
parking
like it was
garage.
made for it.
All right, we're gonna go
When that
underneath
happened,
one more
he
bridge
burst
and then we'll
into
cut the
tears
video.
because he knew that it
This
really
one is the
was
lowest
his
bridge
dead friend. At
that
that
we're
point,
underneath
my
earlier.
Dr. John White Webster was a goner.
We're gonna go
And
underneath
then I had to
a
admit
low bridge.
that I had borrowed money from Dr. Parkman, and I had mortgaged a lot of my chemistry equipment at the college
Get
to
one more look at
secure
the harbor.
loan. But then Dr. Parkman heard that I, Dr. Webster,
And
had
yes,
actually sold some
camera,
of that chemistry equipment again
it's just likes to go
to a
out of
third party and
focus.
collected on it. And it was his.
There's
It wasn't mine to
downtown
sell
Boston.
anymore. He was gracious enough to allow me
We're
to
gonna go
continue to use
underneath
it.
a low
And when he
bridge.
heard that I had
and
sold
we'll
it,
cut
he
the
was up
video.
and mad and came and confronted me in my chemistry lab deep in the basement of the Harvard Medical College, and he said, I am going to ruin you, sir. You'll never be able to show your face in Beacon Hill again. They'll know you for a usurer and a liar and a cheat. And he was just yelling and screaming at me. I was holding a log that I was
And there's a lot of good
experimenting
stuff on
and,
here.
I saw red and I
All right, here we
smashed
go,
him
a
in
low
the head with the log,
bridge.
and before I knew it, he was on the floor in front of me, his body shaking in a grand mal seizure. And when the shaking stopped, I knew I was in trouble. I had to decide whether to tell the police about it or chop up the body parts and dissolve them with acid. And this is so many times that happens in the Penny Dreadfuls. This is the time that it actually happened in history. Now, as a result of this, I, Dr. John White Webster, was hanged for that crime in a jail here in Boston. I had wanted to be buried in
right.
Mount Auburn Cemetery, but I was denied that privilege. I was buried in a grave in Cops Hill Burying Ground. And because it was thought that
All right, this
someone
is
might
where
dig
we
up
all
my
started.
body and decide to
This
chop
is
it
where
up,
we all started before.
that I had to be buried in an anonymous
now we're
grave.
gonna go ahead and
So
end the
no one
video
knows
right
exactly
here.
where I am.
All right.
But in the Cops Hill Burying Ground. So
That's it, folks.
next time you're in the north end.